This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Tom Murphy of the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette and Whole Hog Sports now joins the conversation. Tom, I know that a lot was made from Coach Pittman this week talking about the noise and the crowd level that they're going to walk into on Saturday night. For the guys that haven't been in this atmosphere, how much of an adjustment is it for your first road game being in Death Valley at night?
Yeah, good morning. I think it's a big one, and I've been out at practice this week, and let me tell you, that was super loud. Tim was talking to us on the Zoom about the level of noise, and then he talked to Chuck again last night. It's a kind of a generic white noise, but there's some kind of crowd overtones to it, not specific to LSU, just really, really loud. It just kind of comes across as like jet engine loud. And when we left practice on Tuesday, we went right under those speakers, and I can see why Sam Pittman was joking about he stopped watching the offense and went over to the defensive field, which was a little further away. It is really loud. So they should, whatever happens at Tiger Stadium, it's going to be loud, but not quite that intensity, I would think.
So they're, again, having to prepare for that. They also got to prepare for maybe the best quarterback in the SEC being Jaden Daniels, and they really stoned him last year. Jaden did not have a good game. This year, though, he's at home, and he's a lot better than probably he was last year. You've heard from the players. You heard from Coach talking about this week. How do you think they're going to try and contain this LSU offense, and particularly Daniels, on Saturday night?
Well, it's going to be difficult. First of all, you got to have guys who can run with Malik Neighbors, and Sam Pittman has said over and over, they love the deep ball. They're going to throw it deep, and their success rate on it has been really strong. Now, not so much against Florida State in game one, but the last couple of games, it has been strong, and I got to watch a good amount of the Mississippi State game last week. And here's the thing, you can cover great, but if you're not really disciplined with your rush lanes or don't have a spy, or even if you do have a spy, Jaden Daniels can get out of the pocket and beat the spy and be into your secondary. So LSU is basically at this point an advanced offense because I think their O-line is more together than the Razorbacks' offensive line right now. And they got weapons all over the field and probably going to get their tight end Taylor back this week. And they've got a better running attack so far than Arkansas, but they didn't really have to use it much last week because Daniels was going crazy passes. So a lot of factors for Arkansas to overcome to win this game.
Tom, not a lot's been said about the speed of this game and the speed of this opponent compared to what Arkansas has seen through the first 3 weeks. How much will this get ratcheted up with Daniels and his individual speed, Neighbors, and just the overall speeding up of the opponent this week with LSU?
Yeah, as much of an athletic talent level as Arkansas faced last week in BYU, it's up a notch with LSU because it's across the board. It's Harold Perkins at linebacker.
Mm-hmm.
It's every level you can think of, their speed and strength. And so it's going to be a big test. I mean, look, Arkansas's defense has been good, but I think they were over-aggressive, like, with their eyes. Like, their eyes said, oh, here's a pass out on the edge. Everybody's going to go pursue. Well, the people who were supposed to cover the back or the person, ran – their step was toward Parker Kingston over on the edge, and they gave up the touchdown. And I think they flowed to the right on the Kingston touchdown after the interception, and there wasn't a whole lot of defenders out there. Dwight McLaughlin got blocked on the play, and he races in for a 20-yard touchdown. So there has to be a little bit more eye discipline, staying on your keys, and so in other words, it slows your aggressiveness down a notch. But they've got to play smart in this game, and really, I think that the key is slow the LSU run game, make them need to pass, and then just pony up, put some pressure on, have your blitzes reach home, and keep Daniels contained. It's not going to happen throughout the game, but you got to do that and get off the field a few times.
Can Arkansas get consistent pressure with 4, or is it going to have to come from different levels?
Yeah, they're going to have to feel that out. I mean, I'm sure there are some plays where Landon Jackson or Trajan Jeffcoat or someone can whip their man. And by the way, underrated player so far this year, Torian Carter. He's having a good start. He's winning a lot of reps, and he was the kind of guy we thought before he was injured a couple years ago that he would have blossomed into, and he's there. But there's certainly going to be times where they're going to have to send extra guys, and that's the time it's really important that you don't get out of your lane, you don't over pursue in the backfield, and give him room to get out.
Tom Murphy with us here on the McClarty-Daniel hotline. Tom, one of the things you asked Coach yesterday was about the punting situation. Max Fletcher had a good 2 games. He did not have a good third game, and they're going to put 2 guys tomorrow. That was an issue for Arkansas in Game 3. Curious how the special teams looks in Game 4, specifically in the punting situations.
Yeah, I am too, and it surprised me a little bit when I asked Sam Pittman that. But look, Fletcher was good outside the 28 and the 10. I mean, his average without those 2 was something like 49 for that game, and his average is still 44, and that's despite a 28-yarder and a 10-yarder that were just shanks. And the way Sam Pittman put it when he said Devin Bale would punt at LSU, they would start Max Fletcher, and then Bale would get a chance, was, it makes him concentrate a little bit more. And I guess he just had a couple go off the side of his foot, but he's got a really strong leg. We've seen that in practice and in pregame, and he's shown it in the games this year so far. So, but that 10-yarder was a momentum turner, because if he gives off a regular punt, BYU's down there on about his 20 instead of the Arkansas 45, and they score a rushing touchdown on the next play. That accounted for 45 of their 77 rushing yards on the day.
Speaking of strong legs, Cam Little, even in that miss last week, looked like he had 10, 15 yards on that 49-yarder, doinked off the upright, unfortunately. But for him, 2 years ago, he's a true freshman. He hits the game winner in overtime in Baton Rouge. I mean, how important is he going to be Saturday night when you think about what he was able to do 2 years ago, and maybe in a tough situation where you're on the fringe of kicking a field goal or going for it?
Well, exactly, and you could be in that position some, and he is important. And I know he's a confident kid. It's just that would have been a big field goal at that point of the game, And so everything mattered against BYU. The penalties mattered, the field position mattered, the eye discipline mattered, the pass protection, everything mattered. If you make a couple of different plays, the special teams mattered. Then you can come off that field as a winner. And so when you got a 49-yard field goal and you have his reputation and that, you need to make it.
Yeah. Tom Murphy with us here on the McClarty-Daniel hotline. Let's talk about the punting game, because that was a critical factor last week with a couple of punts that set up good field position for BYU. Tom, what differences will we see in the punting game this week?
Well, I mean, I don't know if we're going to see any other, look, Tyrone Broden has been outstanding as a gunner, and or one of the gunners. And, Max Fletcher, aside from the 2 shanks, has had a strong year. And so Devin Bale will get his shot, and it will, I guess, then turn into a competition. It took a few games last year where Reed Bauer, regained the job. But we've seen advancement in Max Fletcher, and if he can avoid the shanks, I mean, we still have yet to see pinning teams inside the 20, because they haven't really had a chance to do that much this year. But he's got that in his arsenal as well. Just needs to not have him go off the side of his foot.
Yeah. All right, Tom, environment, situation, time of the year. It's September this time around versus normally a November matchup between these two. Does that make the field any different this time? It's going to be warmer than you're ever used to in Baton Rouge. I know for a lot of these players, they're new to Arkansas, or half the team is. What factor is it playing in September this year versus a normal November date with LSU?
Yeah, it's kind of weird, and I think it just favors LSU, because last year up here, I want to say game time temp was 34 degrees, and I really think they had a scaled-down game plan, knowing that KJ Jefferson was not in the game, that Arkansas was not going to have this huge offensive eruption. They had a good plan for containing Hornsby, who started the game basically with Harold Perkins as the spy. And I just think, Jaden Daniels passed for 86 yards in that game. And I think now, on a warmer day, they'll be a lot more gung-ho, and they'll unleash him, so to speak. and they did what they had to do to win the game last year. Arkansas really contained their run game to a large degree, but they did have one good drive that featured the run and got a touchdown out of it. So, I think, from a weather standpoint, I don't think the players okay, this is the team across from us. I don't think they process so much. It's a November game versus September game, but I just think LSU at home, all the factors are in their favor. But I have a sneaking suspicion Arkansas is going to play a lot better than they did last week.
BetOnline is your #1 source for all your betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, and more. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your phone. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and get in on the action. Remember to use our promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, where the game starts.